All right, got it.
Good evening, good morning, and good night, everyone. My name is Brian DeMar Fort for Fathers and Sons Speak, the podcast, where we are creating a safe space for men to tell their stories, tell their father's stories, and just so we can also be heard. Now, today, we have a very, very special guest with me, a man I met when I was working, and we were doing a children's book together.
Yep.
And we pretty much kept contact ever since. He's a great, fantastic artist. I'm sure he has his own classes that he can plug to you guys at the end. If anyone is interested in any artwork or drawing or learning how to, this is the guy I would throw it to if I wanted someone to teach me. His name is Gerrel Brown. Gerrel, come on in and tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yep, this is Gerrel Brown. Yeah, I'm an artist. I grew up, born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I am 31 and I'm on the road to having my first son. Yeah, I'm an artist. I primarily work in digital, and that's who I am.
I hope that didn't come across too hokey. I was trying to give you a round of applause for being a dad for the first time.
Oh yeah. My bad. Yeah,
I
I
hope that comes
appreciate
through
it.
on the other side when the people listen to it. Um,
Okay,
like I said before, I'm gonna sit back and eat these blueberries and drink this ginger honey tea, and
Mr.
I'm gonna let you
Organic.
talk to us about your father. So tell us now tell us about your father. What the good, the bad, or the ugly?
All right, no doubt. Yeah. So, yeah, my dad, even though I grew up in South Central California. So, a lot of people around there, they didn't necessarily grow up with dads, but me, I was like pretty much the opposite. Like my dad was always right there. My dad's from the old school. Like now he's gonna be 69 this year. So I kind of had a dad that was, from a previous generation than a lot of other people. And he was on top of everything. He was the type of dad that, if you needed help with a project, he's running up to CVS at 1 a.m. to help you out. He was the type of dad, that'll you miss the bus for school because we used to get bussed out of school. He was going to drive you, 45 minutes to get to school
Mm.
and all that. So, just I couldn't ask for a better dad. Like even now, like well, I don't think you guys can see my camera, but I just had a baby shower and my dad was there and he can't stop giving gifts. I'm like, no, dad, we're good right now. But he just, so love my dad to pieces. He's a great man. I feel like he instilled a lot of values. We grew up like, religious, like Christian. I don't really necessarily subscribe to a lot of the views that I grew up with, but for what it's worth, a lot of the values and stuff like that stuck, like the family values and just being a good person in general. That stuck with me. And I feel like that's what kind of gave me a big part of my personality.
Let's talk about some of those values.
Yeah.
What are some of the main things that dad has taught you that stick with you today? Like, you use that particular set of knowledge more often than you thought you would.
Oh yeah, I'll give you a couple things. Like my dad, he was also a cop as well. So he was a LAPD. So he had like his thing was, a lot of things having to do with honesty and stuff like that. So I don't know if the cop thing may have played a role in it before or after he became a cop. But anyway, his thing was, just be honest. Like you're not in a store, you're not picking up stuff to steal, you know what I'm saying? And I actually just ran across this the other day. Like I was at Walmart and I hit that self scan. I was like, I could just bag this up and we out of there.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought about, I'm like, I got money to buy this. Why am I trying to steal this? So I went ahead and scanned it. And, that's just like, I just picture like my dad in the back of my head, like he wouldn't approve of this. So we ain't going to do that. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, this is actually a good story. Like, my like growing up, my dad would, if he saw some people fighting on the street, some kids fighting on the street, he was the type of person that's gonna pull over, skirt, jump out and
Oh,
break it
yeah.
all up and that type of thing. Like I remember one time we saw like some type of domestic abuse thing on the way back from somewhere. My dad pulls over, skirt, we out there, breaking it up. I'm like a teenager, he a grown man, he breaking it up, and they fighting in the middle of the streets and all that. But
Wow.
fast forward to now, like how does that translate to me? Like this actually happened about 2 years ago. I used to stay near downtown LA, and it's a lot of riffraff going on down there. Saw a lot of crazy stuff like drugs running rampant and all type of stuff. But anyway, this particular time I was just like walking down the street, and then I look across and I'm kind of watching in my peripheral, but not so much. I see an old lady and like a family, like I think she had her daughter and like there was like two kids. So they're just walking down the street. And then like next thing I know, I see somebody like I see the lady on the ground, this guy kind of stumbling over the top of her. And then he just like keeps walking, he bends that corner. So I walk up to the lady, I'm like, I'm thinking he stole something from her. I'm like, did he steal something from you? What's happening? But she couldn't really speak English. So
Oh,
this is where that those values that my dad, seeing my dad growing up and all that, this is where that kicked in. As soon as I saw that, boom, I'm like, I take off, I'll break down the corner, I'm running as fast as I can. I hit the corner, I spot the dude, and then I'm sprinting up the hill. I'm sprinting up the
mm,
hill, and then the
yeah.
dude, he probably hears some footsteps, turns around, and then he kind of like looked at me for a second, and I looked at him for a second. I was just like, and next thing you know, I got my hands on, I'm grabbing him, throwing him on the ground, and all that. I got him on the ground, and I got him yoked up all over the ground because I'm actually a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I used to train, compete, and
Go
all of
get
that.
him.
So
See?
yeah, so I got to put that to use. So I had him all tied up on the ground, and I didn't know if he stole something, what exactly happened, but so I had him down there, and then finally the old lady catches up, and the kids are screaming, they crying, they seen their grandma, get attacked or whatever, and then come to find out, he actually just hauled off and just hit the lady and just
Oh,
started running like he was
yeah.
just tweaking. So, if I would have known that, I'd have probably gave him a few justice punches on the ground, but
So
I didn't know the full story. So
right, but you did what you had to do in the moment, which
exactly.
is something that your dad instilled in you. You know, him being
Exactly.
a brave LAPD cop. You know, what I'm saying back in the day, that ain't no joke. So that's deep.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
real
So
deep.
yeah, that's probably one of my favorite stories, like, from dad, my and I never really thought of that connection, but from the values my dad taught me to now. So that'll be one of them stories I tell, when I'm 80 years old to my grandchildren.
Oh yeah, shoot. I'm about to start telling it for you. Man, I got a homeboy. You do something wrong, and just see it. You about to get choked out. Where's your dad from?
My dad's from Los Angeles, California. Yeah, he was born
Oh,
and raised out here as well. And
generations.
yep, yep. My grandma moved out here from Alabama, before they were born, and then she started a family out here. She purchased some real estate and stuff like that, and yeah, raised up three sons.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Grandma's the root, man. We gotta honor our grandmas even more.
Yeah, rest in peace to my grandma.
Rest in peace, grandma. So, with that in your back pocket, that story that was just told, finish this sentence for me or this sentiment.
All right.
Funny thing about my dad is,
The funny thing about my dad is that he's a great person, but he might come off as a little bit kind of standoffish at first. Like until you get in there and then he's joking with you, you might think that he's, maybe like a cold personality or something, but you get to know him, man. He loves you to death. And then he's joking with you back and forth, and that's the funniest thing about him.
right? You don't know what you're gonna get to see him on the side. Like, I don't know if I want to approach that cat, but you don't recognize what you're passing up.
Yeah, yeah,
That could be a good
exactly.
time right there. That's a good man to know.
For sure.
Okay. So at the top of this episode, you just mentioned that you're a father to be, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you don't really have any actual fatherhood experience, which this is going to make this conversation really good.
Mhm.
So, what aspects or how do you think your father's rearing of you will affect your parenthood, your parenting, your fatherhood journey?
Oh, okay. I feel like it's going, a lot of like I be liking to play things by like ear and instinct, and I feel like a lot of those values, like even with the story I told you, like it kind of kicks in like early, like I mean, immediately, like when certain situations happen, just based on how I was raised. So I'll probably take some of the probably some of the values, like, the honesty, that type of thing. And just giving my all to my kid if they need help with anything, being right there. So, that's probably what I'll take most from my father. And I'm sure there's plenty more, but I just can't, at the top of my head, I probably couldn't tell you right now.
Understood, understood. But you got a couple things in hand. You're going to find out a lot once that
Right.
baby's born. You're going to find out more and more things that you're going to want to instill or
Okay.
teach or just do in your own day to day to help keep you sane and keep you, you know what I'm saying, as a
Okay.
protector and a
Right.
provider.
Right.
Um, we have a partnership, a friendship with another podcast that's comes out of the UK called 40 Weeks for Men. And it's something that you probably could have enjoyed. Um, it's a
Okay.
it's about a journey. It's a journey for men, the first time being fathers, and as their female counterpart, their wife, their girlfriend is going through their 40 weeks of pregnancy. There's 40 weeks for men. It helps them get their mind right, and so they can still be heard. Because we
Okay.
know a lot of fathers get lost in the shuffle when
Right.
the pregnancy is going around. It's all about mom and baby, to be
Yeah.
honest. And so he wants to just keep men's minds prepared for what's going to happen. So when do you do?
I'm sorry.
When is
Are
your
you
baby?
saying?
When is your baby due? How much time do you
Oh
have
yeah,
left?
he's due on what is it, May 19th? Yeah.
Okay, you got well, almost exactly a month.
Yeah, yeah, exactly a month. Yep, yep,
All
yep,
right,
exactly a
so
month.
you've been in it for quite a while. What advice would you give to someone who just found out, or they're a couple months into their wife's or girlfriend's pregnancy? Like, what would you tell them? What advice would Gerrell give them?
I will say just be prepared for some have a lot of patience, because your girl's gonna be going through a lot. And I feel like, I've learned this as well. Like, I'm not perfect. Sometimes, I've lost my patience and stuff like that. Nothing too bad, but I would just say be very patient. Your girl's gonna need a lot of help. She's gonna she's gonna be on a hell of a emotional roller coaster too, or for sure, or way more than you are. So just have your patience, give her space or whatever if she needs something. Just be right there. And don't don't let that change your relationship with your woman. If it was, if it's a healthy relationship before, then just make sure that you got to do what you got to do to maintain that.
Excellent. I tried to do that with my first and my second. I tried to be there. I was the kind of dad, the kind of husband to be like, don't do too much.
Right.
Watch how you swinging that belly around the corner,
Right.
or you go sit down somewhere and stop bending over all the time. I was really worried about that, and still to this day, as a father, I'm worried about my kids' just safety. Like I don't want them walking by
Right.
the corner of the desk and hit their eye or something. I just don't. I'm always a worrywart. I
Right.
actually got
Right.
that from my mom, which is a trip. I was hoping I wasn't a worrywart. Um, let's see, what else? So you're gonna become a first-time father. What is it that you've seen from other fathers and other advice that you've got? What are you looking forward to after the birth?
Oh yeah, the most thing I'm looking forward to is, like, I was sharing with you earlier that my dad is a little bit on the older side, but he is in incredible shape for his age. Like, so we used to play basketball and all type of stuff, because my dad was real competitive like that. Like,
Right.
if we was playing tee golf or whatever, putt golf, he was going to be determined to win. If we was playing basketball, whatever it was. So I look forward to that, playing games with my son, getting outdoors, just being competitive, seeing how much that I can push myself at my age versus him, and trying to make sure that he has that layer of toughness to where he can handle, like, certain situations, get him in sports and all that type of stuff.
That's what's up. Are you going to push him towards the arts, or are you going to let him try to have that be something that he just discovers on his own?
Oh yeah, well, he's definitely gonna have some type of art training. Like, that'll be, like, because all kids have that creative side. I feel like when they're coming up, it just needs to be cultivated a little bit. So if he even feels like he's pulling out a pen or something, I'm gonna give him the most encouragement, and I'm gonna teach him what little tricks he could learn at that level. So that's how I'm gonna rock that.
I tried that same approach with my son. He's 8, And if he saw me drawing, he want to draw too. So I pushed it, but he
Right.
doesn't really seem to fancy that anymore.
Oh,
But he did
interesting.
he did he did pick up some sculpting clay.
Oh, okay.
He picked up some sculpting clay, armature, all the tools that you need. He's been watching YouTube videos about how to sculpt certain things. So maybe he'll branch off into something else. Um, would you be hurt if your son said, "I don't want to do art. I want to be a math teacher"?
No, I'll probably be more excited. I'll be like, yeah, thank God you don't gotta go through this hurt and stuff and up and down. Go ahead and
Oh,
get your
man.
go ahead, go the smart people way and write some equations or something, son. But
Yeah, man. Because I'll tell you right now, algebra is way easier than color theory
yeah,
because 2 and +2 always equals 4.
right,
You can
right.
always plug that number in that formula and get the answer. You cannot always mix your colors to get the right green or to get the right
Exactly.
purple. It is so hard.
Yeah, and especially if you got like a background theme and then the colors change because the color becomes relative once you put it on the canvas. So that's a whole other can of worms.
They said they don't want to do that. They don't want
Yeah.
to. You want to teach algebra, the Pythagorean theorem, because it's already written down and it doesn't change no matter what piece of paper you put it on. Oh
Yeah.
man, this has been a good conversation, man. I got to learn a little bit more about you and your family lineage. Um, Before we get out of here, tell the people what you're up to and where they can find you. I know we talked about the art and the classes. Let them know about that.
Yeah, so you can find me on social media. I mostly use Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok as well. I'm Bones of Buried, BONESOFBURIED, and I also have a class on Skillshare under Gerrel Brown, GERRELL, last name Brown, and that's teaching you the beginnings of digital art and how to go from an idea to a finished concept.
And that, my friends, is a great, great tool if you're just an amateur or you want to just expand your skill, just learn how to do something new. And it's digital, so there's really no setup, no cleanup. I know because I'm an illustrator myself, and I do like to use the digital platform. And Gerrell has skills. When we did our children's book together, he carried most of the work. He's really good, really solid at what he does, y'all. So check that out. And before we get out of here, let me say, if you guys enjoyed what you hear and you guys want to support the Fathers and Sons Speak movement, you can go to our website, which is fathersandsonsspeak.com. If you like the movement and you want to help, there's also a donation button at the top of the page. We also have merch that you can purchase over at the website. If you want to be a guest and you want to explain fatherhood in your words and give your father's story and your story, you can reach out to us at Instagram at Father Son Speak. That's our handle. It is Father Son Speak on Instagram. We're not on TikTok just yet. I gotta make that happen. But yes, definitely. If you guys want to get a hold of us, that's how to do it. And for tonight's episode, I think that's it. So I'll
All
see you
right,
guys
thanks
next time.
everybody. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, brother. You take it real easy.
You too.